Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Raul Infante, here with Taking Dish Sports, here with my co-host, Hugo Dominguez.
How's it going, Raul? Just wanted to say, guys, thank you. We reached a small milestone, but it's big to us. We've been working hard. We got 200 subscribers now, and Raul's you got a couple of specific subscribers you want to shout out, right?
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to a couple of guys. First one is Jay Harper from the Real MMA Group. He's making a lot of noise there. Another guy that I appreciate is Joe Sherwood from Combat Sports for Life. Tommy Littrell, Wesley Woods, and the last one is Anthony Riviera from the Mecca of boxing and MMA. I really appreciate you guys because you guys show the true passion of MMA, and I just want you guys to continue supporting it and continue pushing this sport because it's a growing sport. So that being said, don't forget, guys, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, but we analyze them. So today we're going to cover UFC 236, and how crazy was that card last night?
Yeah, what a fun card to watch, man.
Yeah, so we're gonna start off actually with the main event of the evening, which was Dustin Poirier versus Max Blessed Era Holloway. Go ahead and start off with that for the lightweight interim championship.
I mean, what an exciting fight! You know, when do you get a co-main event and a main event, and we hype it up, and we got what we paid for?
Right.
You know what I mean? This is just a great fight, and you know, I gotta say it off the bat, I shouldn't be, but I was surprised by Dustin Poirier's performance. He really showed. I think what it is, you know, early in the first round, Max Holloway felt his power right away. He had a huge power advantage. I wasn't expecting that. And then on top of that, we're expecting Max Holloway to be the volume striker, to throw more strikes. And in the beginning of this fight and throughout this fight, it's actually Dustin Poirier pushing the pace, throwing volume, and there's power behind those shots. And we could see, you know, early in the first round that Max Holloway, felt them. The knockdown happens. You know, what'd you think about that, Poirier's power?
Oh, man, it was incredible seeing that in the first round. I was shocked when Max Holloway was hurt that way. You could see it in Max Holloway's face how he was a little bit discouraged. He's like, what am I doing in the lightweight division? These guys bang at a different level. I did not like how Max Holloway was conducting himself. He wasn't disciplined at all. Maybe it's because of the first fight, because he knew that Dustin Poirier submitted him in the first fight, that he didn't try to go for a takedown. Guys do it all the time. They get hurt, they shoot for a double. Even though they don't get it, it gives them that breathing time, that recovery time that they got. Max Holloway, like I said, was very undisciplined and was actually swinging for the fences. And he's such a great striker that he was actually able to catch Dustin a few times to slow the momentum down. But he could have been knocked out at any point in that first round. So credit to, Max for being able to, get through the first round and every other round. But, Dustin Poirier showed up last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think Max Holloway, he had his strategy going into the fight would be, like I said, high volume, pressuring Dustin Poirier. There's a part in the third round where, Dustin Poirier goes for that takedown and Max Holloway is able to turn it around. He's got Dustin Poirier up against the fence. He's throwing volume strikes. And, Poirier actually said he was hurt during this sequence. Poirier takes the first two rounds. He takes the beginning of that third round. Max, with this little flurry at the end, gives an argument to take that third round.
Right.
I don't think it was a fact of Max being undisciplined. I think he was, with Dustin Poirier giving the volume of striking he was given and pressuring Max Holloway, whereas Max Holloway wanted to be the one stepping forward. You have two fighters who want to step forward. And, as you see during the fight, whoever was stepping forward during an exchange, that's the fighter that was dominating.
Yeah.
So I think Max was thrown off guard. He was not expecting Poirier to come out with that volume. And I think that's a little bit why his striking faltered. And what you're saying is he was undisciplined because at some point he's got to kind of go for broke and just, stand and bang when he's getting dominated in the striking like that.
Right. So after this fight, does Max Holloway stay in the lightweight division or does he go and continue reigning in the featherweight division? I can name you one person that was upset that Max Holloway did not win and look too good yesterday, and that's Brian Ortega, because Brian Ortega was ready to reign that
take
featherweight
over the division.
Exactly. He was so happy. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna run this division. Max is done. I think Max should maybe there's two options that he should take after this fight. fight somebody that's less of a caliber but is a rising star and a big name. Like, for example, Io Quinta or Donald Cerrone. I know they're fighting each other, but that's just an example. Those guys are fighting whoever wins in that matchup. Maybe Max Holloway could go in and just really take it slow, because fighting Dustin, in my opinion, Dustin's the second best lightweight in the division, or third best if you want to count Tony Ferguson being in there, depending on his situation. But I just thought he tried to bite more than what he could chew. So maybe starting that way. If not, go back to the featherweight division.
Yeah, I think Max Holloway fight in the lightweight division? Yes, if he did what Dustin Poirier did, put weight on, have a frame for 155. He went up to 155. That was his first time. He still has his 145 frame. The Dustin Poirier that fought at featherweight does not look the same. They're saying he's having to cut more weight now. He's having trouble making 155. So he has a bigger frame now. He's gotten the power for 155. I think Max, if he has a couple of fights at lightweight, yeah, he can. But right now, stay at featherweight. You're still Max Bless Holloway. You're still a great fighter. I think he can continue to dominate the featherweight division. Start getting those defenses up. There's still a lot you can do. Not everybody needs to do the whole double champ thing. Yeah, I think Max should stay at featherweight, and let's keep seeing what's happening there. And then lightweight it's a wolf's den. Like, it's just crazy up there.
Right. Right. So that being said, I'm super glad that Max Holloway did not fight Khabib Nurmagomedov that time, that they were actually going to match up on a short notice, because if he looked like this against Dustin, can you imagine Khabib?
He's not stopping those takedowns from Khabib.
It's nuts. So that being said, that covers the main event of the evening. We're going to cover the co-main event of the evening, Israel Adesanya versus
Kevin Gastelum.
Kelvin Gastelum. I'm sorry.
Kelvin Gastelum.
Go ahead.
So, first round of this fight, again, I'm surprised. I don't want to say I'm underestimating fighters. I think fighters, they're getting better, and they're kind of surprising me. Kevin, he surprised me in the beginning. What Adesanya, I expected him to control the distance, dominate the striking with his unorthodox offense, unpredictable offense. But Kevin Gastelum, actually, he's pouring it on him in the first round. He hits him with the left hand. He gets the knockdown. It was a great fight by Kevin Gastelum starting out. What do you think starting out in the beginning of this first couple rounds of this fight?
I thought Israel Adesanya did a great job utilizing his distance. He's the bigger guy. He's the taller guy, so use that long frame. He does better when he stays on the outside, obviously. Kevin Gastelum, being the far smaller guy, was going to have to use a lot of head movement in order to get on the inside and utilize that wrestling that you talked about before, to try to maybe exploit Adesanya or try to tire him out. Kevin Gastelum, I noticed, was coming short, though, and a lot of his strikes. One fight that I compared to was Max Holloway against Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo actually looked really sharp in that fight against Holloway. But the one thing that was different was that he was just missing, and that was the problem with Kevin Gastelum. He was just missing. He looked sharp yesterday, but you can't tell in the stat sheet because he didn't have a lot of connected strikes there.
Yeah, and I think this is a test to Israel Adesanya's ability to adjust during the fight. First round, Kevin's catching him with that left hand. And, the thing about Israel is he's got a whole repertoire of strikes. Right. Whereas Kelvin maybe, not as deep in his striking. So he was getting caught in the beginning. I think Adesanya made the adjustments in rounds 2 and 3. And whereas I was like, okay, I think Stylebender has him figured out now. I think he's figured out Kelvin's game, and then Kelvin, he switched it up in round 4, was able to get some strikes in. So I think Adesanya attests to him to adjusting, changing his striking, and then finally doing what he needed to do, which is, keeping the distance, keeping Kelvin away from him, because you don't want to be in the pocket with Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin, he gets, I think, only one takedown in the fight. He attempted a couple. I think he could have level changed more. Just like the Poirier fight, Poirier's coach was screaming at him to level change just to get Max Holloway thrown off. He should have done the same to Adesanya continuing on in the fight, but he didn't. He stayed striking with him. Adesanya in the 5th round. We're all going into the 5th round. It's crazy. One of the best fights ever. We're going into the 5th round. It's 2-2. It's tied, and what Adesanya did is he showed that he's here to stay. He's going to be one of the greatest in the UFC. He showed us, when you're going into the 5th round and it's tied up against a great fighter like Gastelum, we wanted to see something, and he said it in his post-fight interview. You guys didn't think I had the dog in me. That's why I wore the dog shirt, the bulldog today. Adesanya, Izzy, he's got the dog in him, baby. He could fight. What'd you think about that 5th round, Raul?
Yeah, no, he dug deep. Like I said, Kelvin Gastelum is one of those guys that has great cardio. One of those bigger guys, like like Cain Velasquez. That you're like, how in the world could they continue doing this? Israel did not look good after the 4th round, and he was able to turn it around. He was able to stuff a lot of shots and really pick his shots, and that ended up being key at the end because Kelvin Gastelum was extremely gassed, and he took advantage and just poured it on and was able to catch Gastelum with that short left at the end, and I thought he was gonna be able to finish the fight. Didn't get it. Would have been awesome, but it was a hell of a fight, and congratulations to him. Hopefully he gets to unify the titles against Robert Whittaker, but he still has his hands full with guys like Jacare and especially Joel Romero that could sleep anybody in that division. So still a lot of work to do with this guy, but congratulations to him.
Yeah, great fight by Adesanya. I can't wait to see Whittaker and him go at it in Australia. Hey guys, like, comment, subscribe, show love.
And don't forget to hit that bell button for more notifications. So look, we're going to continue it on, and we're actually going to move on to Eric Anders versus Khalil Roundtree. Wow, what a fight. I thought it was going to be a short fight, but these guys showed up last night.
Yeah, Khalil Roundtree, he loses to Johnny Walker, and he travels to Thailand because he needs to work on his Muay Thai. He needs to work on his clinch. He ends up deciding, you know what, I'm going to stay over here. My training's better. I'm drilling more. And it showed so much in that fight, man. Raul, how much would I have to pay you to take a Khalil Roundtree leg kick? Yo, he's hitting these leg kicks in the first round, 2 or 3 of them, and Eric Anders' legs already colored up. He hurt that leg so much. You could hear the smack in the ring. The speed that Roundtree was hitting those kicks with is just ridiculous.
Right, he must have been kicking trees like Jean-Claude Van Damme, But I thought outside of the leg kicks, I thought he was extremely accurate with his striking. Anders, he really has to work on his head movement or go back to semi-pro football or something. The problem I had when he first moved up in weight was his cardio. Everybody knew it, people didn't hit him on that. If there's one thing that he could take out of this fight is that he improved his cardio. He showed that, he finished the fight and he didn't look gassed. He actually looked fresh for most of the fight. However, he was getting caught over and over and over again because he keeps his head right on the center line. That's a basic 101 right there. You can't keep your head in the center line, and Roundtree was able to capitalize and catch him over and over again with whatever he wanted. It was easy for him. Cover that a little bit about how many times.
Just the precision, the speed. Listen, Roundtree was fighting last night like a 135-pound Muay Thai fighter. He was light on his feet. That's why, Eric Anders didn't see the leg kicks coming. And then after that, he did that to set up his punches. Anders' leg is out. He cannot, throw power punches. Now you have Roundtree with precision. He gets, 4 knockdowns in the second round. There's a reason for that. The strikes were powerful, they were quick, and they were with precision. They hit right where they needed to hit. And like you said, they went 3 rounds, but this fight could have been stopped on the 3rd knockdown, in my opinion. And on the 4th knockdown, you should have been out. The ref should have stopped the fight, in my opinion. Or at that point, his coaches shouldn't have let him come out for the 3rd round because there was just a clear dominance, and it just continued throughout the whole fight. Just Roundtree is so good right now. It was amazing performance by him.
Yeah, I predicted a second round TKO by Roundtree, so I was excited when I saw the work. The one thing that I will, disagree with what Roundtree did in that fight was that every time he dropped Anders in the fight, he was hovering over him, kicking him to the legs or striking at the legs instead of asking him to stand up right away. Eventually, he would ask him to stand up, but at that point, 30 seconds will go by. Anders would recover, and then he would get dropped again. This isn't Frank Yeager against Maynard, where Frank Yeager would came back and was out striking. Anders wasn't doing anything. No. Roundtree had the ability to stop him if he wanted to. Yep. If he just asked him to get up as soon as he dropped him, he didn't do that and kept engaging.
Sorry to interrupt, but even to take it to another step, Roundtree on the 3rd or 4th knockdown should jump on top of him, finish the fight on the ground.
Right.
I know fighters, they knock them down and they hesitate because we've seen those situations where they jump in, get submitted or something like that. I don't think this would have been the case. Anders was out cold and he allowed him to recover by kicking his legs and allow him to you could see him slowly recover and then get up and get back into the fight. Roundtree in one of these situations should have jumped on him, and he could have had the finish. But still, great performance by him.
Absolutely. So, hey, that's that on that fight. So we're going to move on to Alan Jubin versus Dwight Grant. Go ahead and cover that one, man.
Yeah. This is... you see how excited I was for Roundtree? This is how I sounded during this fight. Just boring. Just a boring fight. You know, not too much strikes from both guys. I didn't see much from both. Dwight, he wins the first round. And then from there, not too many significant strikes thrown from either guy. They're trying to figure each other out. I know Joe Ben was worried about Grant's power, but you got to get in there. We're there to watch a fight. It reminded me of almost Ngannou and Lewis. That's how... I don't know if that's taking it too far, but almost to that level. And then Joe Bon's mad at the decision at the end. I understand if you go out there, you throw everything out there, and then you're winning a fight and you think you won that fight, but none of these guys should be mad at the decision because nobody won that fight, in my opinion.
Right. Hey, listen, we'll just end up on that one. I'm not going to cover a fight that didn't deserve credit because there was plenty of guys that showed up last night. So we're going to move on and we're going to cover the rematch of OSP versus Nikita Krylov. What a cool fight that was and what a great outcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. OSP, he starts off pretty good, but he's going for the takedowns, using his grappling, good striking. And then he's kind of gassed in the end of the first round, and then he's gassed for the rest of the fight. That's what I saw, and I'm even wondering, I think OSP came in, he looked a little bulkier into this fight. Right. And we all know if you add too much muscle, your cardio is going to go down a little. What'd you think?
Yeah, the Max Griffin had a similar result. Mm-hmm. That's why he was so tired. He did look a little bigger, but going on to OSP, I knew he was tired at the end of the first round because it's the little things that you pay attention to. If you notice, OSP was pounding down a lot of water in his corner. That is an amateur move right there. Anytime you're doing any sort of hard workout, if you pound a lot of water, you're gonna be in trouble in the sense of cardio. That and I knew he was gonna struggle going on to the rest of the fight. Krylov, on the other hand, looked fresh. He looked determined to get that victory. You know, to redeem himself for the loss that he took in the first fight, and that was amazing that he was able to submit the guy who submitted him years before.
That's a real redemption right there for Krylov. Good performance by him. Good grappling. He did what he had to do to get that submission. And, you know, when a guy's tired, that's the perfect thing to do. You know, choke him out. They're already halfway there.
Well, I just want to say, again, good luck to OSP because he's fought the best of the best in that division, which is, you know, unfortunate losses. But, you know, his career is going in a downward direction, so I just want to wish him the best of luck. The sense of Krylov, good luck because there's some tough guys in the light heavyweight division, so keep moving forward. So that being said, that covers the main card. Now we're going to cover the one prelim card that we actually discussed in the prediction video last, which was Millender versus Bilal Muhammad. That was an outstanding performance by Bilal Muhammad. Go ahead and start off.
Yeah,
with that.
we both picked Millender in our predictions, and I was kind of going back and forth because, you know, he lost by submission, and then he takes a fight 6 weeks later. There's only so much you could improve as far as jiu-jitsu or grappling in 6 weeks, and so he needs to make a huge jump in his jiu-jitsu defense, his grappling defense, if he's gonna hang with the best guys in the UFC.
Yeah, I was impressed by Curtis Millender's his jab in the first round. Yeah. He was able to cut Muhammad, and but the one thing that Muhammad did that was smart was that he went to the body in the beginning of the fight, and that carried on. Once he was able to get that takedown in his fourth attempt in the second round, the entire fight changed after that because it showed that Curtis Millender has a very low IQ in the sense of his jiu-jitsu. Yeah. There was plenty of times where he could have hip escaped and he didn't capitalize.
Yeah, his half guard was lazy.
Wasn't doing
easy to pass.
He wasn't doing much. The one thing that Curtis Millender was able to do was actually escape out of the full mount when Muhammad was trying to catch him with the elbows. He was very smart in that sense, and actually
that's where he showed some effort from the bottom. But before that, he's just hanging on to the half guard. I don't want to say hanging on to the half guard, barely hanging on to the half guard. And, you know, Muhammad was able to pass to the full mount, I think 3 times easily.
Right, easily.
Yeah, so he needs to improve that jiu-jitsu defense greatly. But shouts out to Muhammad. Great performance. Millender's winning the first round, creating the distance, doing what he needs to do. And Muhammad adjusted, did what he had to do, turned it into his fight for him to win.
Yeah, the guys in his camp right now are killing it. And it's not even about the ground game. The ground game was initially where they got there, or I'm sorry, where he was able to get there. But in the stand-up game, he was impressive too. Yep. He hurt Millender a few times. He had Millender bleeding there. So either way, I thought Muhammad, was impressive in his stand-up game and his ground game. Very, very good performance on his part. Anything else to cover there?
Not there. Shout out to Taha on the great knockout in the prelims, though. Yeah, that was amazing.
That was pretty cool. So, hey, that wraps it up, guys. Remember, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, but we analyze them. Here with your host, Raul Infante, and your co-host, Hugo Dominguez.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.